Let me bang. I do let you bang. Hey, let me bang you, James, man. I let you bang. I let you bang. Greetings, marriage and virgins.
Go for Jesus. No forget Jesus, people.
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time once again for your favorite mixed martial arts podcast. Recording out of Los Angeles, California, it's MMA Roasted with Adam Hunter.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new MMA Roasted Podcast. Me, Adam Hunter, here with Greg Romero Wilson, one of the funniest people. How are you feeling, Greg? What's going on?
I feel good. You know, last week was kind of the first week that I really began to feel like myself again. And luckily that trend has continued. So we're having another good week so far. It's Tuesday. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I feel pretty good. Look forward to getting back to life a little bit.
Are you back in LA or are you still in Texas?
I wasn't in Texas. I've been in LA this entire time.
Oh, because people said you went to Texas.
What?
Yeah, because people told me that that after you had the heart attack, you went to Texas to go home for a little bit.
No. Who's saying?
Somebody at the Ha told me that.
I wasn't allowed to go anywhere.
Somebody at the Ha said you were back in Texas. I was like, oh,
all right. Yeah, apparently they know more than I do. I had no idea.
Have you left the house yet or no?
Yeah, I mean, just a little bit in terms of like just going, to the grocery store, just to get out of the house. That's about it in terms of doing anything. Like we went and took a walk on the, on the boardwalk down at the beach this weekend. Again, anything I've done has been just to get out of the house because I'm going stir crazy, but I haven't really gone and done anything. We went to the movies, went to see that Nick Cage movie. That was fun. So,
I heard that was great.
Yeah, no, it's super funny. That's a super funny movie. It's like, you realize they make the movie that they're talking about while they're doing the movie. Like it's all very meta and very funny. It's funny because the guy that wrote it and produced it was the same guy that created Ghosted, which is the show, of course, that I did with Craig Robinson. Nice. So it was pretty cool just to see, because the story behind that was not the best story. Tom Gormican, he was the creator of the show, and then the show wasn't doing great, and it was super expensive, and so they decided to kind of pivot the show, and to do that, they basically forced him out, brought in the showrunner from The Office, and that was when they hired me, because they were kind of changing the dynamic of the show. So unfortunately, I never got to work with the guy, but I was on one of his shows. So, I don't think he would be too excited to meet
I'm sure he knows nothing to do with you, though.
Yeah.
I was in shows, and I had watched I did Nate Jackson's Super Funny Comedy Club.
How was that? That looks cool.
It was great, man. Nate Jackson's, a guy. He's a funny comic. He's been around forever. He's a solid comic. He was a big college comic for a while. Then he was wilding out, and he's from Tacoma, and he just opened up his own comedy club, calling it Nate Jackson's Super Funny Comedy Club. And it's like it was connected to the Holiday Inn, which is great because I stayed at the Holiday Inn, so I didn't have to leave.
Right, you just go right down, do the show, go right back up.
Yeah, it was a nice hotel. I'll definitely, it was hard because last Thursday I did the Hollywood Improv, and my cat, the one that loves you, Frankie, the gray one that's always on here, the white one, he was like, he's got a lot skinnier, and I just, we changed his diet. We took him in. He said he had ringworm in the fall, and then he started breathing through his like something was off. So my wife took him to the vet while I was at the comedy club, and they said he has 2 collapsed lungs, and this cat doesn't have many days left. And by the time I got off stage, they were like, you have to get here now because this cat's. So I raced to the vet, and the cat died in my arms. It was dead, but it was like I was holding it. It was fucking horrible, dude. I was leaking as far as a faucet, crying. It was the worst. Because
wait a minute, so you flew home from Portland?
No, the Improv. I should have shown at the Hollywood Improv Thursday night.
Oh, okay.
I flew to Portland Friday, or not Portland. I'm in Seattle, but just that whole night was like I didn't see this coming at all. I knew he was sick. I didn't realize how sick he was, And I had the cat for 13 years, the friendliest cat ever. I mean, this cat never met anyone he didn't like. He was like, come up to you, just bury his head in you. I mean, you could not have got a friendlier cat. It was to the point, and so that was, so then I had to fly Friday. I was like shook all day Friday, obviously, and didn't really want to leave my house. Didn't want to leave the hotel. So that was, and the crowds were good. It was nice to actually just talk to somebody because I was so, fucked up over it. But like one lady was like on her phone the whole time, and I'm like, are you okay? He's not coming. Like first I was like, the Coke's on its way, whatever it was. And then she's like, I'm talking to my kid. And I'm like, oh, okay. But it was like 25 minutes. She's been texting in the front.
Yeah.
So I was like, is there an Amber Alert for your kid? And she looks up. She's like, don't you talk shit about my child. And I'm just like, oh God, like,
here we go.
Get up and go to the bar and do this. So then like, I'm trying to make it funny because I don't want to talk about her. She's obviously mad, but I'm like, oh, is this your date? And there was like this huge black dude. This is a white woman. And she's like, no. I'm like, sir, it's time to pay half. Like, so then he was like, good looking out. So that, like that was cool. And then she was laughing. And then she gave me a standing ovation. It was just like, what was it? One of those like crazy, but that was, and then people just started like talking to me while I was on stage. Like people were just, they would come and just start talking. Like literally just like telling me about one lady couldn't.
I will say though, I on the one hand, you want to be like, this is where we're at now, but on the other hand, this is where you've always been at. There's something about you. I don't know what it is. But they just feel like they can just start talking to you. I don't know. I don't get that nearly as often as you've gotten it in your career. Maybe I don't do as many road shows as you, and that's what it is. But I don't seem to run into that when I'm on the road nearly. I've been hearing this from you for years.
I'm like, if you guys have nobody to talk to, and you're like, oh, there's a comic in town, I'll just go talk to him. I mean, one lady sat in the front. She kept saying, what? She's like, I have bad hearing. And I had to explain the joke to her, like after doing the joke. And then she's like, why is that funny? And then I had people in the crowd telling her why the joke was funny, like during the show. So this was, but people were dying laughing at that. So that was cool. And then where's McCorkle, man? I don't know where's Sean.
I think he just said something about 10 minutes or something.
10 minutes. Yeah. And Don Frye like ghosted us. I don't know what happened to Don Frye anymore.
I hope he's okay.
He is. He's doing his podcast. So he is. Okay.
Well, then it is fine. So he is just ghosting us. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, one lady in the front was like, this is hilarious. Why aren't people laughing? And then she starts around. She goes, why are you guys? I'm like, it's okay. I don't need that compliment. Thank you. As long as you're laughing, it's okay. I don't need everybody.
Yeah, that's not helping. That's like when your family members try and over laugh, like, ha, 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 ha. Like, it's okay. Don't try to make it better. You make it worse. You make it worse. You make it worse. When you try to make it better, you make it worse.
Or they go, I thought you were funny after the show. Oh, I was laughing. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Like
okay, ever gonna. So anyway. We'll talk. We have a lot to cover today. There was a lot of fights over the weekend, as well as more fights in the Johnny Depp trial. We got to cover that. I don't know if you've been watching that. Did you watch the fights? You'll see Jessica Andrade versus.
I did. I watched the main card. Fastest main card in the history of MMA.
You know what?
Every fight but one ended in the first round.
I got to give Andrade credit though, because it was one of those things where she's just like. Got sick of getting punched in the face. Obviously, plan A wasn't working. And he just said, okay, all right. And then just bum rushed her and arm triangled. And that's how strong she is. But a lot of times you see fighters where plan A doesn't work and they can't accept plan A's not working. So they lose a fight that they should have went to wrestling or they should have went to jiu-jitsu. But this girl was like, fuck that. I'm getting lit up on the feet and just rushed her. And, and I like wanted, there were jokes I wanted to make, like people like, are you worried about getting canceled or something? Well, you have to have, something to get canceled from, number one.
Yeah.
But I wanted to make the joke like winner gets top because it seemed like they were both might've been lesbians, but I'm like,
might have been.
I
love that you have to leave that window open just for somebody. And by the way, for the sake of nobody involved in this, not you, not the two people involved, but for somebody else who just wants to be upset, like how? Because you don't know for sure. You're just like, okay, I'm gonna go out on a limb.
Oh, the funny part is that even like with Elon Musk buying Twitter now, people are like, oh, this is great because now free speech. I'm like, Yeah, now more people are going to get canceled. You do realize now that now everybody's just going to say the most fucked up shit, and you're going to get canceled even faster. Like Elon Musk.
Yeah, this is one of those things where he thinks he just bought himself a bunch of problems.
But like, you don't get paid by Twitter. Yeah, you're still going to be. You can still say whatever you want. You're just going to get canceled even faster. Because now,
listen, and anybody who doesn't get what they want, they're all going to attack fucking him. Like, dude, do something about it. And so he really just bought. I think he sells it within a year. I think he doesn't realize the trap he walked into. I think they were like, thank you. We will take that $54 a share. This problem is all yours.
Yeah,
please,
I mean,
you enjoy these people fucking giving each other death threats and you deciding who gets to stay and who gets to go. Go ahead. He thinks he can just open the barn doors and everyone else. And this is what happens. Anytime they think something can self-regulate, you realize that the only thing that happens is everybody gets fucked.
Well, he's pretty funny though. Like he goes, "Who wants to lose their boner?" and posts a picture of Bill Gates. And like, like this is the guy buying Twitter.
Yeah, wait until all the comments are like, "Hey, you need to be addressing this. Why aren't you doing something about that?" Blah, blah, blah. He's I'm just trying to make a joke about Bill Gates. Don't worry, he's going to become the complaint department now. Oh yeah, that's what he doesn't realize.
As far as other fights that went on, I thought that, Venata, man, it was crazy. Like Venata lost quickly.
But he was winning up until that moment.
Yeah. And then, he then afterwards called out, what's his name? He called out that Brazilian kickboxer guy who's like amazing, who does those wheel kicks.
What is that guy's name? I forget. I know you're talking about Ponytail, right?
No, not him. He called out the guy that just lost to Bryce Mitchell. Sean, what's that guy's name? The guy that does all those crazy spinning wheel kicks. He called
Rodriguez.
No, I'm talking about. He loses to wrestling a lot, but he's really good. Anyway, he called him out. What? But he did it in the most Canadian way possible. Of like, oh, look, this guy's a great fighter. I know I'm gonna get shit for this, but I would like to call you out. It was the most polite call out in the history of call outs. Like Canadians are just the most, even when like GSP, right? Like, I'm not impressed with your performance. It was just so polite. Like the Canadians they're not good at shit talkers, and they're just nicer people. Like even comedy crowds, they don't heckle. They laugh. They don't get offended. Canadians are just happier people. It's like, I don't know.
Usually, I did get attacked by a Canadian comedian one time.
Did you really?
Yeah. We went up there to do the Calgary Comedy Festival, and our first night there, we go to do this show that we were booked on. We're supposed to do this show. And I guess whoever the headliner of the show was didn't want to wait till the end. So he decides to go up in the middle. So he's like, yeah, he's supposed to, but here he is anyway. So he goes up, has a very good set. I don't even remember who it was, but he has a good set. And then I guess the next guy after him didn't do very well and couldn't follow him. And then, so the host gets up there and he goes, look, no one can follow that guy. That's why he was the closer. So I'm just going to end the show early. And I was like, no, you don't. I didn't come all the way from New York to sit here for you to end the show. So I walked on stage and I grabbed the mic from him and was like, don't worry, I'll take it from here. Wow. And then I finished the show. I did my set, crushed. And then I brought up Dustin Chafin because there were Dustin and Josh Wade. And I brought up Dustin and then Dustin brought up Josh and we did our sets. And then afterwards, the guy was just losing his fucking mind. And he was like, you can't fucking do that. I said, you can't fucking do that, asshole. We came all the way from fucking New York just for you to end the show because you don't think anybody can follow that guy. He can't follow me, motherfucker. So then he was just losing his shit and trying to attack me and all this. It was that.
Well, when I say Canadian, I don't mean Calgary is different. Calgary is like, they say it's like Texas times 30.
They say they're more Texas than Texas. And as someone who grew up in Texas, that's not true.
They shut down the whole city though. I mean, for the whole province to have rodeo festival, like months and nothing but rodeo. So I don't know if I Calgary there, but yeah. And the guy I'm thinking about, Edson Barboza, is who I'm thinking about. That's the guy's name.
Right.
Yeah. He called out Barboza. Did you watch the fight over the weekend, Sean?
No, I wish I did. Actually, I don't wish I did, but no, I didn't. So.
All right, so we'll give you a recap of what happened.
Somebody sent me a link to the Tyson Fury fight. I didn't realize it was taking place during the day, so I got all excited to watch it that night. And then I was like, "Oh, it's over!" Like at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, that happened a lot. But yeah,
all right. Those links never work once the main fight starts. Billions of people are trying to get on them, and they always get jammed up anyway.
All right. Well, so this fight, Andrade was getting lit up on the feet, and then all of a sudden, just like rushed the girl and threw in an arm triangle, and won like a standing. It was the first ever fight in the history of the UFC that ended by standing arm triangle.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. She got her good too. And that Lemos, man, I gotta say, that girl could throw hands, boy. When she lets them go, woo, you better watch out. I was actually because I was firmly thinking Andrade was just going to kill her. And then Lemos came out, and I mean, I was like, oh shit. She was lighting her up, but then, she managed to get her in the clinch. And then, I mean, she used pure strength to just submit her standing. That was crazy to watch.
Clay Guida lost. He fought a guy who's a stud. This guy, Claudio Puelles.
Yeah, Puelles. Yeah. I
mean, this dude, Sean, are you with us?
I'm still here. Yeah, I was trying to mess with my internet connection, but go ahead.
So he just got dominated. The guy just went from like transition submission. I mean, dude is really, really good.
Dude, those leg submissions though, they remind you of when what's his name would do the rolling leg attack.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're like, whoa, I haven't seen this before. Now, again, much like that, though, people learn to look out for that and defend it. I'm wondering how long he gets to do these leg attacks, but the speed at which he did it, I gotta say, I've never seen anything. I was like, oh, I had to roll it back. I had watched it a few times, watched it in slow-mo. It was impressive as hell, man.
So you got to see this guy's face, Sean. This guy, Tate, look at this guy's face. When Tate's getting smacked, watch.
He's like, well, okay.
He's like, what? Watch it again. One of the funniest things. Like, he's sitting there like, oh God, come on, man.
He's like, okay, guys. Yeah, he's like, boy, that's some white boy shit right there.
Yeah,
like,
man,
maybe he should have slapped him in the knees, woken those up.
Oh man, yeah, no, it was
that getting slapped. Was that Clay Guida?
Yeah, that was Clay. Yeah. His brother every time hits him for some reason.
Oh yeah, his brother's a genius. I just didn't recognize him with hair.
His brother's a genius. I know what you really think of him too. That's why that's so funny.
His brother back in the day, I put his Ultimate Fighter picture. This is before I was a little bit famous. I put it on the underground. And I said, like, getting kicked off the Ultimate Fighter, even like so easy, even a caveman could do it. And put a picture. And then he got real upset about it. But yeah,
did he miss weight by like 40 pounds, right, for the show?
Well, no, he only missed it by 1 pound, and he couldn't cut 1 more pound. And like, I don't know who can't cut 1 more pound given the time, but he was calling the commissioner Doc. He's like, "Come on, Doc," and he's like, "I'm not a doctor." Like he just kept saying to him over again. And he thought the rules were going to be special for him because he was a Guida. Like he kept saying, "Come on, Doc, I can cut 1 more pound," but like he knew. I think 3 months before he's on that show, he knew he had to weigh 206. You know,
that's the thing. I mean, 1 pound when you're like 112 pounds is a lot. Don't get me wrong. When you're 205, you can cut a pound. You know, that pound is going to come off.
He could have cut his hair off and made or lost it slowly like his brother. And either way, he could have made the pound.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. Clay was on like a little tear, and he was looking really good. I don't think he looked bad, or this other guy's just special. Like he fought a special fighter. And that's what the UFC does. They'll put a guy who they think is going to be like the next big thing, or could be the next big thing against a guy like Clay Guida. A lot of times it goes the other way. We're like, okay. But this time you're like, wow, people were like, who the fuck is this guy? He went from submission to submission, like flawlessly. Like you would see someone doing like a class, like the teacher would just go like that. Like he did that like live on Clay Guida. So it was.
I thought about Clay because he trains with his brother, and his brother's obviously special. So.
Dude, it was so obviously a stepping stone fight. Like it was like, here's this young stud, And here's this old guy who's still fighting for some reason.
But a lot of times the old guy wins in those fights.
Yeah, sometimes and they do. They usually do unmask young dudes for their weaknesses. But this guy showed that people just haven't seen what this guy does with those leg locks yet. I've never seen anything like that leg lock. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, and it's so fast.
Yeah, it's like I was pretty excited when I saw like when Cub Swanson beat Chrome Gracie. Remember that? Like they were all about Chrome Gracie, and when Cub just took him to school, I was so happy because I like it when it doesn't work out when the old guy seems to. It's been happening a lot with like Arlovsky's been doing it to people that and then there's somebody else that does that to people who recently became kind of like the gatekeeper. I forgot who it was. Maybe it was somebody at 170 that he was like, all right, keep bringing these guys because I'm just gonna keep doing this. Forgot who it was. It was somebody recently that was like,
I can't remember who you're talking about, but I do remember that. He actually said that I think in the interview that they were trying to insinuate they were trying to make him, as a stepping stone, and he was going to keep beating him.
Was it Sanchez?
No, who? Diego?
Yeah.
No. I think it was. I mean, it was Derek Brunson for a second, but then all of a sudden, like Derek Brunson became like they were like, oh shit, this guy's really good. He was the guy for a second. But then it was somebody else that like was doing that, which just kept beating the old guys. All right. And then maybe it was like Jim Miller. Was it Jim Miller? Or so somebody like that. And then who else? The Beverly Hills Ninja. Jordan.
Oh my God, dude. That was the classic example of somebody like just learning a new skill and they're not good at it yet, but they want to use it all the time and get beat.
So this other guy, Mark Andre Barrout, he basically Jordan Wright is known for karate. So he goes for like a double leg and he gets guillotined. And the other guy stands up like, that's not how I wanted to win, but fuck it. Like he was almost like this. You could tell he was like annoyed by by him winning like that, which was kind of funny, but it was like, oh man, Jordan Wright, I'm not sure he's ready for this kind of competition because it just seems like, he's got a great gimmick, the Beverly Hills Ninja, but it just seems like he's just been getting put out pretty quick.
You can't use a new tool that you just not haven't mastered. I mean, he kept putting his throat in, and we saw this with Bubba. They kept putting his throat in arm's length. They're even saying it on the sidelines, going, "He's leaving it out. Okay, he got it out, but it's still in danger. Oh, now it's back in." It's like he had no idea how to protect his neck, and so he was like, "Okay, if you're gonna put it back in, I'm gonna crank the shit out of it." Like,
right? Exactly
he put himself in that position. That dumbass.
And then Sergey Konzdalko against Dwight Grant. That was the fight of the night. That was just a back and forth war, Sean. Like they both got dropped in the first. And then the second, Sergey won, but it was like one of those things, just a great fight. Don Frye on the show. Might be by accident. Don, how are you, man?
He butt dialed the show.
He might have the show. Tyson Pedro won. I guess he hadn't fought in 3 years, but he was really good. He beat this guy, Ike Villanueva, who was crying on the way to the octagon because he was so happy and emotional.
Oh, yeah.
Then he just got his ass kicked. I've seen this a couple times. I don't think crying on the way to the octagon is the way to go. It never seems to work out for the guy crying.
Yeah, it doesn't. Two places it doesn't work out. The octagon and the bedroom. It's never going to end well.
Give it
to me.
Bad omen.
Sean, you ever fought a guy that was crying before he fought you?
No, I did have a guy ask me one time if I was going to really try to hurt him. And he's like, are you going to really try to hurt me? And I was like, dude, it's a fight. And he's like, well, they tricked me into taking this. It's my first pro fight. He said, I'm not even a fighter. I'm not even trained. These guys tricked me into taking this. And I was just like, my heart sunk. And then I punched him in the face hard when we got out there because I was thinking if I lose to this guy, it's really embarrassing. But I felt terrible about that. Absolutely terrible.
Don, you ever have a guy cry on the way to the octagon?
No, I don't think so. I had a couple pee on the way to the octagon, But,
that would have been me. That's what I would have done.
I mean, the guy's a tough guy. Don't get me wrong. And like, he loves his kids and he was like super happy to be back in the octagon, but it just seemed like he was just too emotional. Like you got to be relaxed in there, right?
Right.
Yeah,
but that's also, you can't be too relaxed. That was one of the problems at the end of my career. I was too relaxed. Of course, I was drugged up, so I didn't, wasn't real worried about anything, shit.
Yeah. What's the most drugs you ever did before a fight?
Probably 3 bites, 1,000 milligram bites.
Wow. For me, it was probably an 8-ball of Coke and
Sean, how
one time I had a glass of wine before with the drugs too, so
Sean, how powerful is 3,000 Vicodins before a fight?
They don't come in 1,000 milligram. He must have meant 10 milligram. But if it's hydrocodone's less powerful than oxycodone, but they're both very similar. But that's enough to have you not really caring if you win or lose. So
fuck. And then there was a couple other fights that went on. Mike Jackson was one of the funniest things I've seen. So Mike Jackson's a guy they basically brought in to fight CM Punk. They were looking for a guy that CM Punk could like potentially, beat or at least be, because he was 0-1. He had no amateur background. So they got another guy that was 0-1, right? And Mike Jackson ended up beating up CM Punk, but did it in a way where he said he wanted to like punish him. So he didn't finish the fight. He kind of made like a mockery. They got booed out of the thing, both of them. And then Dana White was like pissed at him because he was like, dude, you're wasting everyone's time. And he's like, I want to teach him a lesson. Then he tested positive for weed and it didn't even count or something. It was like a no contest, right? So I guess when he fought CM Punk, he had like a 3-fight contract with the UFC. And I guess part of the contract was like, they can't cut you after a win. That's what, what's the name told me? Sean Shelby told me that like, they can't cut you after you win. Like it's in the contract. So they technically had to have him have another fight. So now here he is 6 years later. What?
He fought again in the UFC?
Yeah, he fought again over the weekend. He was so it was the first fight, right? So that they announced him as 0-1-1, all right? 0-1 and like no contest. And he fights a guy, I think the guy was from I think he was from Ireland. Dude, so
okay, wait a minute. Before you go any further, I'm looking at the odds on this fight going into it. And before the fight, Mike Jackson was plus 700, and the guy he was fighting was minus 1125.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
The guy's the real fighter. So within the first minute of the fight, for some reason, the guy claws Mike's eyes out, like 2 eye ropes, and then he kicks him in the dick, right? So then
he's been training with rival, it sounds like.
So
the DQ. He got the win by disqualification.
So
that now has twice as many wins in the UFC as I do.
Well, hell, I mean, you win by DQ, you'd be the champion of a certain weight class.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
So now he has to fight again, and people hate this guy. Like for some reason, like they should get mad at CM Punk for this. He's the one responsible for this because he never would have made the UFC.
That's what I love. The UFC is mad at that guy for making a mockery of the sport as they matched him with CM Punk. You know what I mean?
Exactly. The hypocrisy is a little thick.
No, but not even him. Like it seems like the fans hate him too. Like everyone hates Mike Jackson for some reason. But he what was it?
His music.
Yeah, his music.
Yeah, because of his music and the kid touching.
And then this is him. This is him leaving. I'll show you. This is him leaving the actual thing. He actually tells everybody what happened. Hold on. There you go. It goes. So here we go. Here we go. He goes right here. All right. Here we go. So he yells out, he kicked him in my dick and tells the cat, like we all saw that he kicked him in his dick. But so Mike Jackson is now my favorite. He's my new favorite fighter because it's like
it'd be amazing if he got a lucky punch and won again. Next, he just went like on a streak where Mike Jackson just keeps winning. UFC can't cut him. That would be amazing.
Dude, I can't wait till they release Mike Jackson's greatest hits. That's gonna be spectacular. Listen, we gotta get him on the show.
He's available. He happens to be a real nice guy. I mean, he's a nice guy. He got what's the name got mad at him, Pat Miletich, because I guess Pat Miletich cornered him, and then Pat Miletich went to the Capitol rally and made like an okay sign, and Mike Jackson posted it and said that was the white supremacist. I don't know. They have a thing, but Mike Jackson, he's the guy that lost the fight, went back to like the press row to record the fight afterwards. He was working with some website. Like this dude's he's got some issues, but yeah. So that was the UFC over the weekend. What's up, people? Football might be over for the season, but basketball is in full steam for both pro and college hoops. From the latest odds, totals, player performance props, to where the next fired coach is going to land, BetOnline is the #1 spot for all your sports betting needs. Now head over to their website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use promo code CLNS50 to get started. It's not just basketball. BetOnline is your source for hockey, boxing, and UFC odds, right to the Olympic coverage. And it's the best in the business, okay? From sports right down to your favorite Vegas casino games, BetOnline is your #1 online wagering destination. BetOnline, the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports and play your favorite games. BetOnline, where the game starts.
I'm
Don.
so sad now. You just like that sound like the greatest UFC. Least
your sound's a little rough, Sean. Something's wrong with your sound, right? Greg, is it? All right, what else happened? So like I said, Tyson Fury won over the weekend. He fight, I thought it was Dylan White. It's like Dillian White, which by the way, I ended up watching it, and I watched the British broadcast of it, and it was the funniest thing because they were like doing kind of like low blows, and they were hitting after the break, and the audience was like, the two commentators were like, "Oh, they're being naughty. They're being naughty boys right now." They're being naughty. I was dying. But so he won his fight. He said he's retired from boxing. For some reason, Ngannou entered the boxing ring. They threw Ngannou down, and now he wants to fight Ngannou in a boxing match with small gloves, with UFC gloves, MMA gloves, which I don't think this is going to go well for Ngannou. He's, Tyson Fury is the best boxer in the world by far. People are saying maybe the best of all time.
Nah, I hate the way they just love going around dropping that on everybody. And it's like, he's not even close to the greatest of all time.
No, I think Ali would have beaten him.
Ali, Tyson, Larry Holmes,
Lennox Lewis.
George Foreman, Frazier. There's a long list of great heavyweights that with much better technique, with also much better opponents. This guy's playing at the weakest era in the history of boxing. Who's he fighting? It's one chump after the next.
He's fighting Deontay Wilder, but Wilder's not really a boxer. He's like an athlete who became good at boxing. So anyway, I still think he destroys Ngannou. I don't think the UFC will let that happen, although maybe if they cross-promote it, like they did with, what's his name, with Conor McGregor. But man, this is going to be another thing where an MMA guy gets beat by a boxer, and we have to hear boxing fans rub it in our faces and say, "Oh, this is what happens," blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, why wouldn't Ngannou want to collect $20 million?
No, absolutely. You just said it right there, buddy. Exactly.
What do you think happens in this fight, Don Frye?
I would say Ngannou. Sorry about that. Unfortunately, Ngannou gets knocked out, but I think Fury might break his hand because he's not used to the lightness of the gloves, and boxers hit so much harder than MMA guys because, in boxing, you got to sit down on the punch, and in MMA, you're not sitting down on the punch because you're trying to stay fluid in case there's another move comes your way, So it's like checkers versus chess. And, with boxing being the checkers, obviously. And so you've always, when you're doing the chess game, you've always got to look out for, 50 different moves coming your direction rather than just the straight on or the diagonal hop, So it's it's completely different now. But Ngannou will get beat just because of Fury's power. But I think Fury ended up breaking his hand on Ngannou's head.
So what we're talking about, Sean. So after the Tyson Fury fight, Ngannou showed up. He was there.
Right.
Brought him into the ring, and they said they're going to do a fight with MMA gloves. What do you think happens in this fight?
Is that the only rule difference? Just boxing, but with MMA gloves?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it'll change a little bit. I think you saw when Artem fought that guy,
Paulie,
that it's not, it doesn't transition as well as guys think it does, wearing MMA gloves, because you can't catch punches as well. You can't cover up as well with them. Obviously, he's still a better technique striker than Ngannou. But, man, Ngannou hits so hard, man. If he connects, I don't care who he's hitting. If he connects, they're going out. So he will literally have a puncher's chance, man. If he connects, he'll knock him out. But I would guess he would probably get pieced up pretty good.
Is there any way you think Dana would let this happen?
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so, man. Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
I mean, even if he let Conor happen versus Mayweather.
Yeah, but Conor was kind of like, outside at that point. He wasn't fighting very often. He really wasn't defending a title. I mean, he was just, wasn't he more on he was kind of already, out there.
It wasn't that. I think that also Conor is a better salesman, but I do wonder, I know that Ngannou has a really good agent. Like he's with like some good sharks out there. I wonder if they're like, I don't know. I mean, because even if Tyson Fury wins, which he probably should win, I mean, he will win. Does it look that bad for MMA guys that but I mean,
I think, he's not going to have much of a choice, I don't think. I think Ngannou's a free agent after January 1st, regardless. So it may happen, but not while he's under contract with UFC.
I think the obvious fight is Fury versus Jake Paul. I think that's no, and I mean that. I would love Jake Paul. You would fight him. There you go. Now you got a matchup. There you sell him 100 million. The whole thing, and the world finally gets to see what you're made of.
Imagine he knocks out Tyson Fury, Jake Paul, like one punch in, and then it's like gets to start over.
I think he does all uppercuts just to keep him on his feet for a round.
I think the fight we all really want to see is Jake Paul in the UFC against Mike Jackson. So that's the fight we really need to see.
Finally.
So also Bellator. You watch Bellator over the weekend, Greg?
I don't think so.
You don't, okay. Well, so a little quick. Liz Carmouche fought Velasquez, who was their champion, undefeated champion. Velasquez won the first. I think the first round was even, but 1, 2nd, and 3rd was on her way to winning. Like I think I had her 3 rounds up, and then Carmouche gets her in a crucifix position and starts landing shots. Landed like 15 shots, 20 shots, and the ref stopped it. And it was like the weirdest stoppage because it was like 10 seconds left in the fight. I mean, in like the round. And the girl got up like, what are you doing? The punches weren't like, didn't seem like they were that hard, but she did have her trapped. But man, controversial decision. I thought it was a terrible stoppage. But now Carmouche is a champion, which is great. She's a Marine and she's been around and she's a nice person and yada, yada. But man, that was weird. That was really, really weird. Also, Cyborg won against this girl in Hawaii who toughest girl ever. The whole time she's getting punched in the face, getting rocked, and then pointing to the middle of the thing going, punch me, come on, keep going. It's basically like just got the shit beaten out of her. And then Justine Kish, who lost 3 in a row. She's a girl that pooped in the octagon by accident. She won. She beat the number 1 ranked girl, Alina McFarland, who was like their champion. So
she can beat number 1. It's number 2 she has a problem.
Good point.
I'm so sorry. Oh my God.
And then what else happened over the weekend? Yancy won in Bellator, which is pretty awesome. Yancy Medeiros won. The Monkey God won in ONE FC. In the PFL, which they make Bellator look like they promote their fights. I mean, PFL has no promotion. I don't really understand, but I felt bad because Jeremy Stevens fought this guy, Clay Collard, and he fought one of these guys. I don't know if you ever had a guy like this, Don or Sean, where he hit him with his best shots and the guy just stood there. And Clay Collard won. It was a great fight. But man, if I'm Jeremy Stevens, I'm like, what the fuck's this guy made of? You ever have that, Sean, where you hit a guy as hard as you can? The guy.
Yeah, I fought a guy, John Ivy, who's kind of got like a cult following. I punched him. I think the final punch count was like 316-1. Like he hit me one time, and I literally hit him 300 and something times, to the point where both of my thumbs were broken and hurting. My hands were both fractured, and he wouldn't quit. Like he just kept, like he laid up in the fetal position, just taking it. I was begging the ref to stop it, pretending like I felt bad for him, but really I was feeling bad hands.
Yeah.
And I was gassed out. Like I didn't have anything left. I kept looking at the ref like, come on, man, you got to stop it. But he was going to be stopping it for me, not for him.
Don, what about you? You ever have a guy you hit as hard as you could, just didn't go anywhere?
Yeah, Takayama. Yeah. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
punching that guy is going, what the hell keeps this guy up? You know, I was looking for a tag, trying to get out of there, you know.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was the best fight of all time. But yeah, that's what happened with Stevens. He hit this dude, and this guy Collard beat him. It was a good fight, though. It was a close fight, but I think a lot of these guys go into the PFL thinking, you know, I fought the best guys in the world. These guys aren't at my level, and the other guys are hungry, and they're fighting. They're fighting for $1 million. I know Bubba Jenkins is fighting this weekend.
He sure is. That's the one I'll be tuning into.
Lance Palmer is taking on Chris Wade. And then in the UFC this week, Marlon Vera, he's the guy that awesome fighter. He's the guy that beat Sean O'Malley. He's fighting Rob Font. That should be a good fight. This guy Romanov, who's undefeated from Moldova, he's fighting Chase Sherman. Gina Danger is fighting a girl named the Shanimal. And Arlovsky is fighting Jake Collier. Jake I had on the podcast. He's a guy that I was like, oh, do you still hunt for your food? I was kidding, but he's like, no, but he used to basically eat squirrels and he used to hunt for his stuff in the backyard, like beaver and this and that. And he trains in his like shack. He didn't start fighting like 22, 23. He was at a wedding. Somebody was like, you should do jiu-jitsu. You'll like lose some weight. Now he's one of the best guys in the UFC. Yeah. And he still trains.
That's what I always tell people at weddings I go to. You should do jiu-jitsu. You'll lose some weight.
Listen, I tried it. I almost died. So
he said he showed up and it was like
I would have lost all the weight.
He said some guy had like a wrestling mat underneath a treehouse, and it was just him and him. And then next thing I know, he went to a better gym. He went 8-0 with like no technique, and now he trains in some like garage/hut in the middle of Missouri, and he's fighting.
Which is still an upgrade. It's still an upgrade from a mat under a treehouse. But
I was about to say, a lot of stories start with a mat under a treehouse, but very few of them have happy endings.
And then Jared Gordon, he's the guy that overdosed like a bunch of times on like pills and heroin and this and that. And then after one of his fights, he was like put on painkillers and then it was like they got him back on drugs. He's a good dude though, a great guy. He's awesome. He's fighting Grant Dawson, who used to be a chef in an old folks home. He's also a really good fighter. And then Darren Elkins is fighting. Andre Feely is fighting. He was on house arrest in high school. He had like an ankle bracelet. And then Gerald Mearshardt's on the card too, who used to be in the band in college.
Sure.
He played the trumpet. So he's fighting Jocko.
Adam has the most interesting anecdotes about fighters. Like he was actually two-timed by his girlfriend at prom.
He was exactly. He never got first chair, and that's what drove him into fighting. He wanted to, prove them all wrong and banned.
So, have you guys followed this whole Benzino thing? You know who Benzino is?
No.
All right. So Benzino was a guy. He was a rapper, and he used to work at like the Source. Remember the Source magazine?
Mm-hmm.
So he used to get, he would like rate the rappers, right? He would give you 1 mic or 2 mic. And so he gave like Eminem like 3 mics out of 5 or 2, like some shitty review. And then he gave himself 5 mics. And he wasn't that good of a rapper, right? So he ended up getting fired from the Source. And him and Eminem got in this big rap feud, right? Like, and Eminem destroyed Benzino, right? So anyway, cut to like, this is like 20 years later. Benzino was on Love and Hip Hop. He has a daughter who's a rapper. And I guess he got arrested. He's been arrested. He's like 50 something on like roids. Like he's jacked out of his mind. And there's a video of him getting arrested recently. And then he was with some transgender, or he was talking to a transgender on like FaceTime. He was arrested for like, showed up to his girlfriend's house and she was hooking up with some guy and he punched the guy's truck. And then they called the cops on him. and he was crying. And then he ended up like talking to some transgender, but which is fine. But then 50 Cent's him making fun of him, like posting videos of him talking to the transgender and talking to him and thing. So anyways, they've been going back and forth. He challenged 50 Cent to a boxing match and celebrity boxing. 50 Cent's not going to do it, but Aaron Carter has accepted. So Benzino is fighting Aaron Carter, and Caitlyn Jenner is doing like the commentary for it, as well as Rashad Evans. So this is
better and better. Fuck, this is.
I was gonna
like,
say
this is top line shit.
As well as Flavor Flav. Here, let me see if I can find the.
I love the people that
that's
cast.
icing on the cake right there. Fucking A.
Dude, the people that cast Big Brother are like, geez, where'd they find these
So
guys?
here's the video of him getting arrested.
To the truck.
I didn't
Hold
do
on.
nothing to the truck,
I'm
yo.
telling you, they all.
That's how you used.
Hold on. So here's a video of him getting arrested last week, and then 50 Cent posted this on his Instagram. He's just been killing this dude, Benzino. At one point, this guy was like a big, like he was a very successful hip hop guy, but it's been kind of rough for him as of late. So I'll show you.
Well, that's
As it is.
Tranny, yeah.
Usually when you're dating a tranny and fighting Aaron Carter for money, things aren't going well.
I didn't do nothing to the truck,
I'm
yo.
telling you, they all.
That's how you snitched on me. I can't believe you out there. As much as I've done for you. As much as I've done for you. I can't fucking believe you.
Come on, be done with
I
them.
can't believe you.
Come on,
Yo.
come on.
Come on, man.
You ain't got to try to get the whole. Hey, Black Lives Matter,
You got the
yo.
whole
All
story. I
right.
understand.
All right.
This is
Finally,
really,
it gets political.
really doing a lot for the cause right there.
I was waiting for him to get political, and it happened.
So Aaron Carter has accepted the fight against Benzino.
Aaron Carter.
Aaron Carter he's the younger brother of one of the Backstreet Boys, Nick Carter, who's he just fought Lamar Odom, and he's like 100.
And let's be honest, he did pretty well for a crackhead against Lamar Odom. Like, yeah, for a guy who weighs 105 pounds, he did pretty well. He really did. He showed heart.
He did show heart. I still think Benzino's going to kill him though. But who knows? Benzino's in his like 50s. So this is
Right.
This is what's going on right now in celebrity boxing news. But meanwhile, Rashad Evans, by the way, is on the poster, right? He was on the flyer, and so was Caitlyn Jenner. It looked like they were fighting, right? So
Right.
I put like good luck to Rashad and his fight against Caitlyn, right? And posted it. And like all these people started commenting, like King Mo was like, I got Caitlyn in 2 rounds.
So the brother turned on the other brother, huh?
Yeah. So, but yeah, so
That's bad. That's bad, you know. But
If you think about it, though,
what's that?
would Bruce
you've
Jenner
lost
be the?
society.
Go ahead, Don.
go
Sorry.
ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, would Bruce Jenner be the greatest athlete to ever cross over into MMA? If you think about it, like wasn't he the greatest athlete in the world in the 70s?
Absolutely, he was, without question.
So
Yeah. 76, right?
So yeah, Aaron.
Oh my God.
I don't know. Aaron Carter says his first album he bought was 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying. So he's dedicating the fight to 50 Cent.
He's dedicated the fight to dying trying, I think.
I was gonna say, at least he's still trying, you know.
All right.
Well, they both have a song about candy, right? His big song was like "I Want Candy," and then the candy shop. Have you guys been watching the Johnny Depp trial at all?
Yes.
Have you really?
My girlfriend got me into it. I wasn't going to watch a minute of it, but when he was describing her poop and how he knew it wasn't a dog's poop in his bed, that was one of the greatest moments I've ever seen on TV. It was funny.
Dude, he's coming across pretty likable. I gotta say, I don't know if he's gonna win the $100 million defamation case against him, but here are some funny moments from the Johnny Depp trial. In case you guys, Greg, have you seen any of this?
A little bit, just little bits here and there, like some of the audio and when she like filmed him like being pissed and whatever. And
so yeah,
so
someone put a compilation together. I'll show you guys some of it.
Which, by the way, in the video that like he was slamming like cupboards because he was mad, and I'm like, that's not that bad.
No.
You texted Paul Bettany, correct? again.
Okay. So the Boston flight, you were drinking pretty heavily.
Were you there?
Mr. Depp, with respect, trying to respect the court's time and the jury's time, that was not my question. My question was simply, you would agree that on.
So yeah, it gets better, huh?
Let's pull up Exhibit 500, please. 500? 500. Defense Exhibit 500.
I'd like to see who I lied to.
Sometimes drink whiskey in the mornings too, right?
Isn't happy hour anytime?
You gonna say that you carried cocaine in that box?
No, but it looks like it would fit some cocaine.
What do you
gave Marilyn Manson a pill so that he would stop talking so much.
Did I read that right?
You did.
Did I read that correctly?
You did.
Okay. Did I read that right?
Yes, you did.
Did I read that right?
You continue to read them right, yes.
And right after you cut your finger off, right after, I won't give you anything to argue with me yet. Right after you sustained an injury to your finger, you poured yourself a mega pint of red wine, correct?
A mega pint?
Yeah. We're gonna fast forward in time.
Oh my God. Like, I mean,
that's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean,
I can't tell what accent he's supposed to have. Like, I know he probably doesn't even know who he is at this point.
I was going to say, I don't think he knows what accent he's supposed to have. The one character he never plays is himself.
Dude, I mean, and then this was pretty funny. This one had me laughing out loud. I mean, this girl seems like a nut job. It seems like they were both kind of, they were both kind of in a toxic relationship. But it definitely. Hello, are you guys still here?
Yeah,
I am.
Yeah.
Definitely wasn't as one-sided as everyone so quick.
You use that a lot when you're on stage, don't you?
Yes, exactly.
You guys still here? Is this thing on?
I can't see everybody. Hold on. Let me see if I'm sharing this. All right, ready? And here we go. Sorry about that. Boom, share. Right here. But a lot of girls are taking Johnny Depp's side with this one. They're like, you know what? This girl's
shocker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a lot bigger than Amber, correct? Physically?
I wouldn't say that.
Okay. Would you agree with me?
Somebody put the curve. You're a lot bigger. I wouldn't say that. Oh God. I mean, this is becoming must-see TV.
What is he being sued? He's suing or he's in trouble?
No,
what is
so
going on?
basically, what happened was, she told the press that he beat her up, and he tried to sue one of the Daily Mail saying that never happened. He didn't win that. He's suing her $50 million for defamation and for him losing all these jobs. Like, he lost all.
Yeah, I think he's suing her for 100. I think she's suing him for 50.
No, he's suing her 50. She's counter suing for 100.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the other way around.
They're suing each other. But they have her on tape saying, like, I didn't, punch you. I just hit you. I mean, they have her saying all this crazy shit, or, he's saying she threw a bottle at him and then his finger, basically fell off. It's crazy. And then he's saying she took a shit on his bed, and then she blamed the dog. It just keeps going on and on and on. And then he was trying to fix her and trying to help her. But there are a lot of videos of him being drunk, passed out. She wouldn't give him his medicine when he needed it. It's a crazy situation. She must have.
A woman poops on your pillow that might drive you to drink. Like, I would think, it's maybe she was a little bit of cause of it.
She must be one hell of a fuck, though. I mean, because then she was cheating on him supposedly with Elon Musk, and then then Elon Musk this was trying to freeze her embryos with Elon Musk or something happened with them. And they got this chick is fucking nuts, but also I think she's an ex-stripper. I don't know. It's just, Greg, what are your thoughts on this?
Listen, man, it's just funny that it's, it's somehow become public record. I mean, it's from everything I've seen. I mean, yeah, it's a toxic relationship, but it doesn't seem like it's anything extraordinary,
Really?
Yeah. I mean, people.
It's every night. It's every Saturday night at the Frye household back when I was married.
Look, I stayed with.
Tell you what, I did that movie with Johnny Depp, and he does not. He's a very nice guy. He does not have the bone structure to punch somebody without breaking his hand. Okay, so if he'd have punched her, he'd have busted his fucking hand and went to the fucking emergency room. Okay, so there's evidence right there. He never fucking punched that broad.
The defense rests. There it is. It has all the. Listen,
If it don't fit, you must have quit.
Listen, I'm never supposed to do cocaine again, but if Johnny Depp had some, I'd probably do it.
Dude, you must be, I've had girls that were like, I remember my ex was like, every time I tried to break up with her, I'm like, you have to leave. You have to leave. She would be drunk. She'd be like, if you break up with me, I'm going to kill myself, or I'm going to get naked, run in the street, or just something. I'm like, you have to leave. The next day I come home, there'd be lasagna made. She'd be like, before I leave, I just want to give you a blowjob. And then halfway through the blowjob, I'm like, all right, you can stay. We're good. Like it would happen like after the 7th time. Sometimes like you got to get yourself out of the situation that you're in. He should know.
That's how Bruce Buffer fixes all his relationships.
God. Oh boy. Tiger Woods' wife attacked his car with a golf club. I mean, shit goes crazy sometimes.
Times, though. She had 19 times, like that we know of. There was 19 girls. Johnny Depp looks like he just was getting like plastered too much, and she's like, yeah, all his friends were fat old guys. They were like Keith Richards, like Alice Cooper, like all these rockers.
Well, because he's a fat old guy. I mean, who'd you think you were marrying? I don't know.
I think people forget he's also 68 years old. Like just because he dresses like some sort of strange pirate, he's not still on 21 Jump Street.
Is she gonna take the stand though, or no?
God, I hope so.
God, yeah, this is becoming.
Sounds like
I just think it's a toxic relationship, and now they got to air all their dirty laundry, and everyone's got to see it. And it's like, I don't know. It's entertaining, but I don't think it's anything extraordinary.
I think this will help Johnny Depp, though. I do. I think he'll go back to making movies.
I think you're right about that. If anything, I think it does. And that's exactly why he did it, because everyone was just, believing whatever she said. And it cost him all these jobs, calling him a wife beater, all these things. He lost his likability, which is the one thing he really had, was he was this likable guy. And now he might get that back. I think you're right. I think people might look at this and be like, "Oh yeah, they're both crazy."
Yeah, so, but what if she wins $100 million from him? He's done.
Well, he ain't gonna she ain't gonna get it because he's broke. So what's gonna do? Bounce a fucking check on her?
Yeah, crazy. Ah, man. Now, does this remind you at all, Sean, of like you in court?
Oh gosh, man! I'll tell you what. If you could have seen me in court, it was so phenomenal. The whole thing, because I at that point did not care. Like nothing they could say could rattle me. So my ex-wife's attorney was insinuating I was gay, and then I was insinuating she was homophobic for insinuating I was gay. It was the funniest. It was the funniest. She was like, "Why do you go to Purdue University to wrestle every week on your expenses?" And I said, well, I go there to wrestle with their wrestling team. And she goes, "Oh, really? Do you like wrestling with little boys?" And I just said, yes. Like I just went ahead and went with it, And she goes, "So you like wrestling with men?" Almost exclusively. And she was like, "So that's like what you do in your free time?" I said, "Is there something wrong with that?" Like I was like insinuating,
God.
But she couldn't. It was so amazing. She asked me, like I just kept saying yes to everything she would ask. She'd be like, "Have you ever cheated on your taxes before?" I said, yes. And she said, "You have when?" I said, in 2005, when my brother bought my business from me, he gave me $100,000 down, and I didn't report that on my taxes. That's what they were talking about. And she goes, "Really? I wonder if the IRS would like that information." I said, "Actually, the statute of limitations on tax fraud is 7 years, and it's been 8 years ago, so it doesn't really matter what the IRS thinks, does it?"
Come on.
And I was lighting her up. It was awesome. Like it was the funniest. My lawyer told me afterward that I was the wrong business. And I should have been in stand-up comedy or a lawyer. I'm not sure which one he thought I should be, but I was he said, I have never seen anyone outsmart a lawyer who wasn't a lawyer, like in court, but it was, I was dying laughing. It was the funniest thing ever. I couldn't remember. They asked me who I went to Japan with because I'd taken my girlfriend at the time. And I said, it was my girlfriend. They said, what's her name? And as God is my witness, I couldn't remember her name. Like and on the stand, I couldn't remember her name. And I was like, well, she's not my girlfriend anymore. She goes, what's her name? And I was like, she goes, can you not remember her name? And I was like, honestly, no, I can't, or whatever like that. And it was like, it made me look great to the judge, but it was, it was hilarious, man. It was the funniest thing ever. I was like dying laughing when I left there. So.
Don, did you have to go to court?
Yeah. For 3 years or 4 years. It was fucking ridiculous.
What was that like?
It was a clusterfuck. I mean, you see how inept the court system is as a whole. And if we had the best court system on the planet, the rest of the fucking planet is fucked.
Yeah.
You see not only what a fraud, but how dirty it all is,
Yeah.
And then this was for your divorce you were in court for?
Okay. Hey, I gotta go out. I gotta go out to the gate. The gate man is gonna show me how to. I'll be back. I'll call you back in about 15 minutes.
We might be done by then.
Say podcast might be over, but it'll be nice to catch up. Find out what happened. It'll be nice to catch up. Find out what happened with the gate guy. I love that the dog actively told him the gate guy was there, and Don understood it. The dog like, run. He's like, guys, the gate guy's here. Gotta go. You heard the dog. And you even heard, I don't know if you were listening, but you heard him respond to the dog like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll go out and meet him. Him and that dog, he's simpatico, man.
He was like, what's that syndrome? The gate man's here. Woof, woof.
Yeah.
I watched some bare knuckle boxing over the weekend. There was a guy that was like, he came out there, he was like, record of like 1-0 or something. They're like, he said he likes getting hit in the face. that was his thing. And Chris Lytle's pretty funny. He's like, well, he's definitely in the right sport if you want. And of course the guy lost because like he didn't like getting hit in the face.
What I like, Adam, is that not only did you watch Tyson Fury's fight over the weekend, you watched Bellator, UFC, PFL, and you still found time to watch bare knuckle boxing.
Can I tell you, I was just thinking the same thing. I'm like, when do you have time for all these fights? I have nothing to do. I'm recuperating from a heart attack, and I didn't have time to watch.
I only watched a couple. I only watched like the prelims of some, or like the main card, the main fight. Like I didn't watch all of them. I tried watching them all on the in the Uber on the way to, on the way to the airport or something. But yeah, by the way, like flying right now is a mess because no one knows if you have to wear a mask or not. So half the masks on, half the flight attendants do, half don't. Like it's like, dude. And then the person who picked me up in her Uber, we had a Tesla, which was like weird, right? Like an Uber. You been in an Uber Tesla?
You get it. You're just wondering, like, wow, what went wrong in your life? Looks like things are going pretty good. Now they're pretty bad.
Well, I guess this comic was telling me this guy Juan, Julio Gonzalez or Juan.
Sure, yeah.
He came to my show to just to watch, and he has a Tesla, and he says that they drive themselves, but you have to keep your hands on them, so you can't like fall asleep, But he said people are getting like cock rings or like dick clamps and putting them on that and then just going to bed and then getting into accidents. I'm like, yeah, first of all, like, why?
What does a cock ring have to do with driving? I'm so confused.
I was just saying, how do you get it on there? A cock ring, I'm pretty sure is a closed circle. I don't know.
No, like, so basically, the steering wheel thinks it's a person holding it. And it's like a dick clamp or a cock ring. You put two on, that way you can go to bed.
How big is that cock ring? How big a dick is that made for if it goes around a steering wheel? Like what? Oh my gosh.
This is what Julio told me. He told me that people are getting cock rings and putting it on the thing. I'm like, first of all, like, why would you go? You have to go to like a sex shop to buy a cock ring for your car. And then I wouldn't trust a car to drive itself. And then you get in an accident and there's two cock rings on your fucking steering wheel. I mean, there's all kinds of problems there.
I wouldn't trust any car that wears a cock ring. Like that would,
Exactly.
that would make me nervous.
Let alone 2 of them. Dude, this car is a freak.
All right. Well, what else is going on in the MMA world? Yeah. So good luck to Bubba Jenkins this week. Get that.
Yeah, Bubba. That's on Thursday, though, right? It's on Thursday.
Dude, they came in like 130th place to PFL this week. It is Thursday. You're right. They never tell you when it is. And it's just like,
is he back in the tournament or is this just a one-off?
Yeah, no, it's back in the tournament for $1 million. They keep giving away $1 million to people.
Which, by the way, I did the one PFL fight I did watch this weekend was that Schultz versus Barcier or whatever. Yeah. And Schultz is like a 2-time defending champion, which means he's won $2 million and he got beat in a split decision. What was it? And actually, I thought he won the fight. I was surprised that the split went the other way, but it was a good fight. The other kid was tagging him up pretty good too. It was a good fight. I was surprised though.
They still let you in a tournament for some reason. Like you have to accumulate enough points. It's like everyone who fights gets in the tournament.
It's like the NBA playoffs.
You have 2
every team
prelim
makes
fights. Yeah.
Dude, you see that guy for the Nets, Ben Simmons, that didn't play for playoffs? Like that guy from Philly, supposed to be this great player, and he sat out the whole playoffs. People were just fucking, making fun of him. They're like, he said he's going to come in and play for in game 8. Like,
yeah,
right.
They got swept. And then like, who made that trade? I mean, they basically traded away the whole season.
Yeah.
What's crazy is that he went from Philadelphia thinking like really more from or whatever. New York City isn't much better.
Well, we're going to decipher that later and post that.
I think what he was trying to say was I think he was trying to say Philly's still in the playoffs, and the Nets won 0-4. I think that's what.
But then the Philly couldn't even put away Toronto, so
not yet.
And Toronto's coming on strong now. Toronto might actually come back in this tournament. Which, by the way, that was the thing, because that's the one thing I have been watching is the NBA playoffs.
Yeah,
and why you would trade away a perfectly healthy all-star like what's his name, the Beard, for
Arden,
a broken down guy who hasn't played a game in like a season and a half, Ben Simmons. Like, I was like, who approved this fucking trade? Like, here, take our healthy all-star and we'll take the guy that's completely broken down and can't get in a game. Sounds great. Like, that was fucking stupid.
Me and my daughter go to this pizza place, Mulberry Street Pizza. They have like New York pizza. And we watch the basketball game, the playoffs. And I try to explain to her what a foul is, whatever. And I was like, which team do you want? She's like, I want the white team to win in the white jersey. I'm like, why? She's like, well, white's the color of milk.
That sounds right. She's like 3, right? She's 3. Listen, if she had given in-depth analysis, I would have been like a little worried. Like, who's been teaching you so much about basketball? If she'd be like, well, I mean, they're the team. They know how to, get the ball down the court. They're unafraid to score in the paint. Everybody on the team plays defense. You'd be like, what were you in a previous life?
Dude, sometimes though, she's smart. My wife's yelling at me the other day. We were arguing, and I'm arguing back, of course. And my daughter looks at me and she goes, "Daddy, stop talking. She's tired."
Even she can tell what the real problem is.
She goes, "You're still talking. She's tired. Stop." I was like, "Oh my God!" Like,
jeez.
Yeah. Women are.
She's smarter than everyone on this podcast.
Everyone. Anyway, Greg, you're the best. Get healthy.
Love you, buddy. Getting better every day.
I'll see you guys soon. Bye. Be good.